You got amphibians always have wet skin because they have something called permeable skin, which is a fancy word meaning they can absorb things through their skin. Okay, so when they drink water, when frogs and toads drink water, they suck it up through their skin. Okay, so I got on gloves for his protection, not for mine, because if there's anything on my hands, it's kind of like what he's drinking, whatever's on my hands. All right, if I just soaked up, it's like he's drinking soap, so it's just safer I wear gloves. So,
Oh
okay?
my goodness.
So everybody, this is Dumpy. He is a white tree frog, but they're also known as dumpy tree frogs. So naturally we named them Dumpy. Okay, Dumpy. They are also known as Australian tree frogs. So they are going to be found in Australia, and they're going to be found in New Guinea. All right. So up in the tree canopies, he's going to find a nice little wet hole, and he's going to tuck into it. Okay, it's really important for amphibians to stay wet. You can see he's got that nice shiny wet skin. Okay. You guys know what frogs and toads eat?
Flies.
Yeah, flies, bugs, they like things that move that fit in their mouth. Yeah. Oh. They like things that move that fit in their mouth. Okay, so if it fits in his jaw right here and he can eat it in one big bowl, he will try to eat it. So lots of crickets and worms. But if they have a bigger jaw, because there are some frogs out there, they're called African bullfrogs, stuff like that, they get huge. They can eat small mammals and small lizards. All right, but no fruits and no veggies. All right, the little tiny glass frogs and dart frogs are gonna eat little flies. Okay, if it fits in their jaw, they will try to eat it. Do you guys know how frogs grab their food?
With the tongue.
They pick it up by their tongue.
Yeah, so they got sticky tongues, and they stick that tongue out, and they grab it with their tongue, and they pull it in. All right. Now, if they have a big chunky bug, and it's hard for them to get it down because their tongue is stuck to their food, they will actually use their eyeballs to swallow.
Ooh.
Yeah, they stick their eyes in their head like this, and they swallow, like, because they're right above the roof of the mouth, and they push down that extra food.
That's disgusting.
It's pretty weird. It's pretty weird, but his food is stuck to his tongue. He's got that sticky tongue, so he can't just use his tongue to get it down like we do. I know. It's pretty weird. All right. So he's got the beautiful long legs. What does he use the legs for?
Jumping.
Jumping, hopping, climbing, maybe dancing, all those fun things. All right, so he's got the long legs, and they're kind of, I don't know. I don't see what he does at night. So he's got those long legs. It's kind of like a spring. All right, so he's going to wind up that spring and launch with the spring. It's like when we jump, we're using it like a spring, but he's got an extra long leg, and he's really tiny, so he actually goes pretty far when he jumps. He's going to probably make it about this far and can probably hop up that far. All right, and then what he's going to do is, if you see his little toes here, each one of his little toes are like little suction cups. So they can use them to stick to almost any surface. So if you saw our red-eyed tree frogs that all stuck to the glass, same thing. They're using those sticky toes to climb and stick to things. Okay, really helpful if he's climbing up in trees and trying to catch a bunch of bugs. And then when they jump too, because they're not very agile, he's very strong in the sense that he's got a good jump, but he's not got good aim. So what frogs do when they jump, they do like one of these, and they do a star, and even if his hand hits it, he'll grab on with that sticky hand like Spider-Man, and then he can stick to whatever he's jumping on too. All right. And so amphibians, always that wet skin, frogs, toads, salamanders, newts, they're kind of like the only real Pokemon. They're shapeshifters. All right, so when they're babies, they don't look like this at all. They look like little tiny fish. We call them tadpoles. All right, so they start out as tadpoles, they grow arms and legs. When they have arms, legs, and their tail, they're actually called froglets. And then they absorb that little tail and they come out onto land and they only got the arms and legs and they become that frog or toad. But salamanders, newts, they go through a process where they start in the water, they come out for a period of their life and they have the arms and legs and then they switch back into the water. All right, and so it's the metamorphosis, really important for amphibians. All right, and they're very connected to water. What kind of questions you got about Dumpy? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Mama, why does he do this?
That's him breathing. So we puff up our chest like this. He's puffing up. That's how he
But
breathes.
why
And
is he
then,
breathing super fast?
because he's small. So the small guys, they got a faster heart rate, and they're gonna breathe a little bit quicker. And then the big guys, like elephants, they actually have slower heart rates, and they breathe a little bit slower. Yeah, that's a good question. Go ahead. Are you just stretching? That's okay. That's all right. So Dumpy, the white's tree frog, okay, wet skin for amphibians. If you're ever in the wild and you're looking to pick up an amphibian, take your hands, rub it in some dirt, rub it in the creek, and then pick them up, okay? It's a little bit safer for them, all right? gonna say goodbye, Gumpy? Goodbye, Gumpy. I'll bring around one more good look. One more good look. He's cute. He's adorable. Alright. Oh, go ahead. That does happen. I've seen it. It happens. If it fits in their mouth, they will go for it. They will go for it. Sometimes you're just hungry. Luckily, we don't do that with each other. All right, guys, the next one. So we got the reptiles next. So amphibians, wet skin, reptiles, scaly. All right. So think of the scales on reptiles. They kind of look like little tiles, like tiles on the ground. Reptiles. Okay, that helps you remember whatsoever. Someone told me that one time in a show, and I have to tell them. Okay. So when I bring them around, definitely check out those scales. All right. Everybody. This is Tigger. This is Tigger. So Tigger's a type of lizard because you got the 4 legs, you got the tail, all right, but you don't have those big chompers that the crocodiles do. All right, so he's a type of lizard. He is in the skink family. This is a Tunisian night skink, but they're also known as Peter's banded skinks. Okay, so Tunisian night skink. So Tunisia, you're gonna find him in Africa, so he's an African species. The tan coloration helps him blend in with his environment. All right, so he's gonna blend in with that desert sand. So night skink means he's nocturnal. Do you guys know what the word nocturnal means? Go ahead.
It means that they sleep at day and be awake in the night.
Good job. Is that what you were gonna say too? Nice, nice. So you're gonna have them awake during the nighttime and asleep during the daytime, like they said. All right. So night skink, nocturnal. So then the black stripes help him blend in with that nighttime, and then the big black eyes will help him see and get around at night too. Okay. And then he is a type of skink. So skinks, they have this nice big body shape, really teeny tiny little legs. Does not make him the best climber, but he's a great digger. He buries himself underground a lot. So he'll take his head and it acts like a shovel. He takes his arms and legs and sticks them to the side and he wiggles like this. And
He's titled his legs.
that's why I call him Tigger. Yeah. The Tigger was a good name for him, I think. But yeah, so you're gonna have a big body shape and it helps him wiggle and get into the dirt, all right? When he does bury himself, really neat thing, at the tip top of his head, I'm gonna bring him around in a second. He's got a little tiny dot at the tip top of his head. That dot is like a third eye for him, so they can't 100% see out of it, however, they can sense light movement. So if something is above him and he just has the tip of his head above ground, he can actually sense if a bird or prey or something flies above him because this is a full-grown adult size. So it's really important for him to know how to find predators. So when I bring him around this little dot, our Asian water monitor has the same thing on top of her head. All right, so it's like a third eye or a motion sensor of a sort. All right, but it's really helpful. You saw it? Okay. Yeah, really cool thing. So not all lizards have it, but some species do. So some iguanas, you got the monitors are going to have it and whatnot, but it's really helpful with avoiding predators. All right. But that's about all I got for little Tigger here. What kind of questions we got about Tigger? Go ahead.
Why does Tigger have such black eyes?
So he's nocturnal. They're going to help him out during the nighttime. So when when an animal has really huge eyes, it means he's going to be out scooting around during the nighttime. He actually eats a lot of bugs. So we call those guys scavengers or insectivores. So he's going to use that tongue to find the bugs, but he's also going to use those eyes to help find them as well. Yeah, really cool. The Asian water monitor has a bigger spot on her head because she is larger. He's dusty too. He just came from being buried. He's got a bunch of sand in his enclosure.
Sorry, can you show that thing you're talking about?
He keeps scooting. There you go.
Ah,
There you go. Yeah.
so
You have a good look for you?
Excuse me, miss.
Go ahead. Pretty cool. Go ahead.
How many animals we gonna check out before we touch one?
The next one is the touch one. Yeah, the next one. Yeah, because if I do more than 3, people get bored. Right. Okay. Any other questions about Tigger?
How long do they live?
So a lifespan maybe about 10 to 12 years, really lucky if you got up to like 13 or 15, but in the wild roughly about 10. Yeah, go ahead. Does he come in different colors? I actually do not know the answer to that question. There might be a subspecies that might be a little bit different in coloration, but I don't know. They just started bringing these guys into the pet trade, so we really don't know too much about them. But yeah. And then let me bring around one more time because I want to reiterate that his little scales, they look like tiles, okay? So little tiles on the ground, if that helps you remember. Because the amphibians, these guys, they do look wet because they're shiny, but they're not wet. It's the amphibians that are the wet, mucusy ones, okay?
Would you say the pet what?
The
Pet trade.
Pet trade.
Pet trade, what's that?
pet trade. So when people
Illegally
take, like
bringing-
they breed them for pet trade, or they take them and they move them from point A to point B so people can have them as pets.
Okay, so
Yeah.
certain animals are designated.
Certain animals are designated. It's like how bearded dragons, we've done a lot of work with, and we know a lot about bearded dragons and a lot about leopard geckos. These guys they just started taking them out of the wild, learning how to take care of them in captivity to the point where now they're kind of getting into that pet trade. Yeah.
Usually starts illegally first.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I can't
reptiles,
see the third eye.
is that dot? It's not much, it's just a dot.
That is the tiniest dot.
I know, but it works for him. It works for him. So all reptiles are cold-blooded. So the whole cold-blooded versus warm-blooded thing, what that means is basically we have a system inside of us. Imagine we have an oven, and we're always eating to keep that oven going to keep ourselves warm. So we make our own heat. They do not make their own heat. That's why they're called cold-blooded. So in order to have energy, he needs to sit in some heat or sit in some warmth.
Just
in
like
order-
turtles.
Exactly like turtles. Turtles, crocodilians, yeah, they're all gonna sit out in the sun, they're gonna take in some rays, and they're gonna get enough warmth to get enough energy to move around and do stuff. If he ate when he didn't have enough warmth, it'll actually sit in his stomach, it won't digest, and it'll make him sick. Yeah, so all reptiles, that's the whole cold-blooded, warm-blooded thing, all right? And then amphibians, totally different situation. Yeah.
So do reptiles not feed in the morning then? When they're-
They do not eat often at all. So those crocodiles, probably once a week is how often they eat. For him, he eats 3 times a week. Tortoises, same thing, about 3 times a week. Snakes, it depends. We'll get to that next, but some of them, they eat maybe once a week. Some of them eat every month or every 3 months. So it really depends. The anacondas in the wild, they'll eat they hit just one huge meal and they're good for 3 to 4 months, and then they just keep going through that cycle. Yeah. Right? Say goodbye, Tigger.
Bye,
Bye, Tigger.
Tigger.
All right.
Tigger the tiger.
All right. He did a great job. He did a great job. Full tiger lizard. All right. This is the last one. I kind of gave it away. So mentally prepare yourself if you are not a fan of snakes. I have a snake that's happening. He's coming out. He's a good snake. All right. It'll be okay. Just give me a second to get situated. So this is the second top predator in Madagascar. Okay. First top predator is a weird thing called a fusa. This is the second top predator.
Whoa!
Second top predator, okay? Yeah, the fusa, it's a weird looking mix, it looks like a mix between a cat and dog. Hi guys, you're fine. But it's neither of those things. It's just a weird medium-sized carnivore, okay? Second top predator. You guys know what might be in Madagascar that they might eat? Have you seen the Madagascar movies? Yeah, so King Julian, I like to move it. All lemurs come from Madagascar. He would be a lemur predator in the wild. Okay? However, they are too cute and fluffy for me to see anything happen to, so they eat frozen rodents here. He does not eat lemurs here. In the wild, he would eat lemurs. Okay? So with snakes, one, they're something called obligate carnivores, so it's a fancy word meaning that they have to eat meat. Because carnivore means they eat meat. Obligate, they have to eat meat. So he doesn't eat any fruits, no veggies, no bugs, no nothing. He's only gonna eat meat when he eats. If he had a fruit, it's gonna make him sick because his stomach can't digest it 100%. But he's gonna be able to eat something that fits into his biggest midsection, so about yay big around is something that Bellamy can eat. Okay? None of us can fit in this hole. We are all good. Okay? You cannot- So I don't even think a little baby could fit in here. So we're all good, okay? So if you see his head, it's got to fit something that big in it, okay? The way that he does that, if he does it, no, he's Jupiter, okay? So his head has got to fit something that big in it. The way that they do that right here, their jaw It's all attached by muscle. So our jaw is the way it is because it's bone, but what he does, he stretches his jaw all the way open like this, then all the way open like this, and then he walks his teeth down his food like this, and that's how he swallows. He doesn't have any hands, so he can't push it down, so he's got to walk his teeth down it like that, all right? It helps him, he maneuvers it down, and if he gets the wrong end first, if they go butt first, they can rotate it around and reposition it in their mouth just using their teeth, and then they can swallow head first down. All right, really cool. Go ahead. This is a snake. Snake. So crocodile, arms, legs, you got a big tail, and then the big monsters. Yeah, so snakes, no arms and no legs. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
So if you have like one intestine, or like how does it like just go straight through?
So it's kind of, it's like ours, but it's wrapped and it goes straight through. A lot of things are very squished and elongated. So like our stomach is very circular, his is like stretched out like that. And then the heart, same thing, where it's kind of stretched out. But yeah, definitely look up snake anatomy. It's really neat to look at for sure.
Can I touch the steak?
We're gonna touch them at the end. I got a couple more things to say. A couple more things. You guys wanna come in? I'm almost done, might as well. Sneak in. All right, this is Bellamy, he's a dual boa constrictor. The males of this species, guys, the males get about 5 to 7 feet, females 7 to 8 feet, so his girlfriend is bigger than him, okay? But they are really good pet snakes to have. I actually took one home. I took his son home, so really, really good snakes.
They look very friendly.
Yeah, so their scientific name, it actually means lazy snake in Latin. So if you do have snake experience, you know what you're doing, this is a really good big pet snake to have. All right.
What
they are
what
really
is
fun.
the what kind of snake is that?
Dumer's boa constrictor. Yeah. Dumerils.
Oh.
Right? I think it's the guy who found them, Dumeral.
Oh.
So they're just all called Dumer's boas now. All right. So
And
and I didn't mention too, he is a constrictor because you see him squeezing me. Yeah, he's in my pocket. Yeah. So he's not squeezing me to hurt me because I can't fit in that hole that I showed you. All right. So he's only going to hold on to me like he would a tree. It is really not worth his energy. Like I said, with the cold blood, he needs to sit in a bunch of warmth in order to get enough energy to digest and do things. So it takes a lot of energy to squeeze something. It's not worth his time squeezing something he can't eat. All right. So he's just holding on to me like he would a tree.
Are they different males, females from each other?
So for this species, luckily the males are significantly smaller than the females. They are some of the only snakes that don't lay eggs. You're going to have rattlesnakes, vipers, they do not lay eggs. All right, there are some lizard species that do not lay eggs as well. All crocodilians and all turtles, they do lay eggs. But his species, the boas, they do not lay eggs. All right, pythons do lay eggs. So it depends on each one, but the female is significantly larger. His girlfriend had about 15 in her clutch. All came out little squirmy noodles. All right? Yeah. The more you know.
So they just give birth like an already
Yep.
snake?
Yeah. They come out about 15. 15 was the last amount we counted. Sometimes it fluctuates between like 12 or 13 to 15 or 16.
That's
All
interesting.
right? Now if you see his tongue going out licking, he's using his tongue to smell. Okay, the way they do that, there's an organ at the roof of the mouth called the digging organ. So he goes out and he licks the air with his tongue. He picks up chemicals on that tongue and then he touches that organ and that's how he smells. Okay, so he smells using his tongue, but the fork, it's kind of like a metal detector. He goes beep, 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 trying to figure out which way to go. All right, and if he smells food, he goes towards food. They can also sense temperature with their tongue too. So when they are doing that thermoregulation and regulating their temperature, their tongue helps them find those warm spots, and they'll go to the warmth. All right. What other kind of questions we got about Bellamy? Go ahead.
I got to ask you about the female snake. How does the female snake mate?
It's a special spot called the cloaca, and I highly recommend looking it up. All right, yeah. So because we do frozen here, technically not, but we do kind of mimic live movement. So when our constrictors do bite on, they start to wrap and we wiggle for them so that they continue to wrap and they do go through those motions. Yeah. I don't know the pressure and everything. Yeah, I don't know. Just enough to take down the rodent that he eats. I think he was really upset and like something spooked him, but he comes to shows every day, so he's just really good with people. His girlfriend's sassy, but she still is really pretty, she's still pretty good with everybody too. All right. While you guys have a zookeeper in front of you, any questions about mammals, birds, fish, anything you got, now is the time to throw it at me. Okay? We're good?
How long do they live?
So about 15 to 20 years for this species. What did you say?
I'm ready to touch.
She's ready to touch, she said. All right. Let me say a couple more things before you go. Well, go ahead. Some dinosaurs were mammals, like those. There's like that giant sloth and stuff too. Some really cool things. And then there's like the woolly mammoth. Yeah, really cool stuff. But the closest relatives to dinosaurs are birds. I have a parrot at home. I can attest. They are definitely very bird-like, especially with how they scream, or very dinosaur-like. So, before you guys do head out, the touch tank with the starfish will still be open, okay? If you do, just rinse your hands with water, no soap, and just out and to the right. Okay, they got starfish and sea urchins you can go touch over there. All right, that'll be open till 5:30. If you want to come up and touch him, you're going to do two fingers. All right, and we're gonna go down his back. I'll reposition him, but down his back, you're gonna grab hand sanitizer when you're done, and then that's all I got for you. But if you still got questions, you're still welcome to ask me those questions and hang back. Okie doke. All right, come on up if you want to touch. Also, you don't have to touch, but he's a really good snake, so I recommend it. Go ahead. Anywhere but the head. There you go. Nice. Excellent.